start this video off, I would like to thank anyone who, or well, everyone who's subscribed to my channel. And as a thank you for these 100 subscribers, I figured I'd give something back to you guys. So I'm just gonna do a couple of simple Sony Vegas tutorials, starting off with the most basic stuff and then moving on to more advanced stuff as we get on. So I'll try to make like 4 videos perhaps this week, and we'll see how that turns out depending on feedback and stuff. But yeah, I'll start out with the most basic stuff here in Sony Vegas. So when you start editing a video or a clip, the first thing you obviously want to do is that you want to import your clip. So you can do this multiple ways. The way I usually do it is to hit File, Import Media, and then you just select whatever you want from your computer. But in this case, I'm just going to drag it from my desktop and into there, and that means we have the clip. So yeah. So the first thing we want to do is to drag the clip onto the timeline. And if you have Vegas Pro 12, you will get this pop-up. And just click no because you don't want to do this. So yeah, no. Okay. So the first thing you'll notice is these black bars. Assuming that your project settings are set to 16:9, but I'll go through that later. So you're probably gonna have these black bars, and what you want to do is you want to right click your clip, hit properties, and you want to uncheck maintain aspect ratio. And what this does is pretty much it just stretches your clip, and the stretch is kind of minimal, so you don't really notice it. But yeah. But as I said, I will go into the project settings because you want to make sure that your preview looks just like your final clip, which can be kind of nice. So you want to go to File, and you want to go to Properties, there, and you want to set the width of your clip to 1920, like here, and the height to 1080. So that's if you want 1080p. You can obviously set these lower, but make sure it's a 69 aspect ratio. And I'd suggest that you keep the frame rate of whatever the frame rate of your clip is. So I'm just going to use 29.97 here because I think my clip is in 29.97. Anyway, YouTube uses 30, so for your final render you may want to pick 30. But it's good to have the frame rate the same as your clip because that helps when you do slow motions and stuff later. But anyway, let's just not go into this too much because it's not really that important. It's mainly about what you see here in the preview. We'll go through render settings later. But anyway, so now we have the black bars removed. The second thing we want to do with pretty much any clip we import to Sony Vegas is that we want to add some color correction because it just makes it look better. So you want to go to Video Effects, you want to scroll down. You're not going to have this many because you don't have any plugins probably, but you want to find one that's at Color Curves here. And what you want to do is you want to drag the default one onto your clip, like that. Okay, so now we have this sort of a line here. What you want to do is you'll notice you have 2 squares here. You want to take each one of them and you want to make an S shape. So it's pretty much like this. You can mess around with this a little, but it does make the clip look better. So I'm just going to do it like this. Let's say we have it like this. And to see the difference, I'm just going to import another one. Just drag this timeline on top of it, hit properties, maintain aspect ratio off, and you can probably see a difference like that. So it kind of looks better, which is nice. And another tip for your color curves is that if you want to go back to the video event effect, just right click, hit video event effect, and you'll be here. What you can do is you can save your color curves as a preset. So you just click here, you can name it whatever you want, like nice colors, and just save it as a preset. And that way, whenever you go to color curves, you can just click this and you'll have this nice colors here. So with that done, you've pretty much done the basics of your clip. So the next thing you'll probably want to do is you want to make your clip shorter. So you want to find, like, let's say I get the KO here, so he's all dead. So I want to cut this part to the right out. So I'm just going to hit S on my keyboard, which is S for split. It's going to split the clip, and you can move this part away. And I usually use Control X to just delete it. Okay, and you don't want your clip to be too long, so let's just go to like 15 seconds, hit S again for split, and just remove it. Just drag your clip back on the timeline. So now we're gonna go into like a basic transition, just to, you know, show what that's like. And I could have just copied my clip twice, but just for repetition's sake, I'm just gonna do this again. Drag nice colors onto it, click OK, and I'm just gonna cut this at a random point because it doesn't really matter. So when you want to transition, the most basic way to do this in Sony Vegas is to simply just drag it over. Okay, so you've got this timer saying how long the transition is when you do it. It says, okay, now it's like 1:28, like 1 second, 28 frames, so it's pretty much 2 seconds, and it's gonna look like this. Which, you know, it's a nice little crossfade. I tend to use that, like, not a lot, but I use it from time to time. It's really simple, it's really nice. So yeah, and to let's just go over basic controls. So in Sony Vegas, you pretty much get this. This is a level slider. It adjusts the opacity of everything in this row here. So if you want to make this all transparent, if I take another clip, just paste it, you're going to see this clip below it in a transparent way. Okay? And if you want to change that individually for each clip, you just drag this down. Okay? So that's what that does. And another important thing that you'll have here, this is the blending modes. So this should usually be on source alpha if you want to make a video, and you can mess around with these and see what they do, but the most classic one I use is add, and it's whenever I'm just gonna set this on, oh, I'm sorry, but that's whenever you want like an overlay or something. I'll go into overlays in more detail later, but yeah, so let's just go back to source alpha. And what more can I say about Sony Vegas? Well, you've got all these here where you'll have all your video effects. You've probably noticed that earlier. That's the first thing you see when you open the program, pretty much. And you've got your transitions, project media, and whenever you want an effect or anything, you just either just drag it on, or you'll click it and there will be a picture here that you can drag. So it's really simple. There's a lot of, you know, just drag and drop involved with Sony Vegas, which is kind of nice. Makes it kind of easy to learn. But yeah, so let's go for the final product, the render settings. So when you're done making your clip, what you want to do is you want to go to File, and you will want to go to Render As. Okay, so this part will be kind of different depending on which version of Sony Vegas you have. I have Sony Vegas 12.0 right now, which kind of changes the look of the screen, and you'll get different presets. But assuming that you do have Sony Vegas, if you don't have Sony Vegas, you'll try to make your settings close to this. So you'll have to look around for the presets, etc. I have a saved preset here, which is Internet HD 1080p YouTube. If you want to find a preset that is as close to this as possible, it is the Internet HD 1080p. But what's the difference? Well, if you click Customize Template, you can change your template, and once again, you can save whatever you've changed here on Save Template. So what you want to do is make sure you have Include Video checked, because if you don't, there won't be any video. So yeah. And frame size, HD 1080p 1920 times 1080. And I don't have this clicked. I'm not really sure what it does, but yeah. For profile, you want to either have main or high. High supposedly makes it slightly higher quality, but it takes twice as long to render, so I just keep it off, even though my computer is fast. And frame rate, you want to have this on 29.97 or simply 30. It doesn't really matter because it's pretty much the same. Field order, just keep non-progressive scan 1. You can have this on 2. And you want to have a variable bitrate. I don't suggest you to change these numbers. And yeah, for the render, depending if you have CUDA or OpenCL available, you can have those for speeding up your render times. I haven't really looked into that because my render times are quite fast anyway, but you can mix with that. For audio, this is a part where you'll have to listen, because when you upload to YouTube, sometimes there's a delay between the audio and the video. This is because of your audio settings. If you're uploading high detail content like 720 or 1080p, YouTube will use a sample rate of 44,100 Hz and a bitrate of 192,000. So if you had these set to anything different than this, there would usually be an audio delay. And the audio delay depends. Like I'm not really sure how that works, but if you keep it like this, you'll never get the delay. Since ever when I started using these settings, I haven't had any delay at all, and it's probably because these are the settings that YouTube uses. I've googled that and checked that and all that. So you want to have your audio settings like this. And now for the most important part is that you want the video rendering quality under project to be on best. Okay, this is important because otherwise you're pretty much wasting your quality on YouTube. You'll have a 1080p option that is pretty much like a 480p version. So yeah, and you want to keep these on like project settings at default. So yeah. And as for where I find my template, it's in the main concept AVC AAC MP4 codec. I always render into MP4, but that's a matter of taste. You can render to anything you want pretty much. But I find MP4 to be nice. It's good quality and it doesn't take up too much space, so it's kind of quick to upload. But yeah, so I believe these are the basics of Sony Vegas, and I'll move into more details for future tutorials. But I figured this is a good start, so if you're new to Sony Vegas, this should hopefully have given you a nice start onto making your own videos. And if you want, like, just request whatever you want in future tutorials and I'll go through it. So if you want like an in-depth version of overlays or importing 3D objects from Cinema 4D or whatever you want, I'll go through it. If I don't get any suggestions, my next one will probably be about some basic impact effects, and later I'll make one on transitions and masking, pretty much. So yeah, just give me suggestions on what you want, or else I'll do those. And what you want to do now is you pretty much just one hit render, and it'll do everything for you. So yeah, that's pretty much the basics of Sony Vegas. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave me a like. And once again, thank you all for subscribing to my channel. Bye.